From CBS 4, this is Haystack TV, powered by haystack-colorado.com. Finding reliable services can be like finding a needle in a haystack. With haystack-colorado.com, finding the needle just got a lot easier. Now, the host of Haystack TV, Chris Kane.
Today on Haystack TV, having a medical marijuana license doesn't allow you to drive while high. Coming up, Jansen Allfrey, attorneys at law, are here to talk about what to do if you get pulled over while driving high. Looking for quality furniture? Look no further. Woodley's Fine Furniture is here to talk about their high-quality, handcrafted furniture and their extensive community outreach. And millions of women needlessly suffer from low thyroid. Dr. Shane Stedman will be here to talk about finding and treating the root cause of the thyroid issue. Hello and thanks for watching. Medical marijuana licenses gives users the right to carry and smoke pot for the treatment of health conditions, but those licenses don't give users the right to drive while high on weed. Anyone, including medical marijuana users, can be charged with a DUI if they're caught behind the wheel while driving on drugs. Jansen Allfrey, attorneys at law, joined us to explain the legal issues. Molly Jansen and Kurt Allfrey with Jansen Allfrey, attorneys at law, join us today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. And like we do with all companies that we have on Haystack TV and haystack-colorado.com, we do background checks. So I'm going to let our viewers know what we found out about Jansen Allfrey. You are members of the Colorado and Denver Bar Association. You belong to the Colorado Criminal Defense Bar and the National College of DUI Defense Attorneys, and you have no complaints registered with the Better Business Bureau. So Molly, you've been on with us before,
That's
and
correct.
We've talked a lot about DUI, and that's driving under the influence. Mostly we're focusing on alcohol, but today we're going to focus on medical marijuana.
Correct.
And people that have licenses and they're allowed to use and smoke the medical marijuana, they still just can't do whatever they want.
That's right. And in our past shows, we've talked a lot about driving under the influence of alcohol. And the statute, the way that it's structured, does not define driving under the influence of alcohol or driving under the influence of drugs. It's a combination of both or one or the other. And so for people who have medical marijuana licenses and are smoking marijuana, pot, all the time, it doesn't give them the ability to then operate a motor vehicle because they have a license. And so that's something that we're running into as a challenge because the way that the law is structured, you know, people think, well, if I have my license, I hand it over, I'm good to go, and that's just simply not the case.
Yeah, so people need to know, I mean, you know, alcohol is legal, it's just not legal to drink and drive. And therefore, if you have a license to smoke, you have the right, and it's legal for you to smoke, but not legal for you to smoke and then drive.
That's correct. And so that becomes an issue because it's not your free hall pass, if you will. And so you face the same consequences that everybody else is facing with community service, with insurance rates going up, with doing coincidentally and randomly alcohol education classes, which is kind of strange because for the people who are being charged with driving under the influence of drugs are being sent into level 2 alcohol education classes, which is a little odd. But those people are facing the same issues because they may potentially be impaired or under the influence of medical marijuana.
All right, so then just to hit it home, if you're smoking and you're stoned you're driving, it's just the same as drinking and
Don't
driving.
drive. Yeah. You can't drive. If you're smoking pot, with or without your license, you can't drive. You just can't do that in the state of Colorado.
Now, Kurt, how do the licenses allow people to smoke legally?
Well, you know, there was a constitutional amendment 10 years ago, although it's only become big news in the last year because of changes at the state and local level. But you have a constitutional right if you hit certain criteria, if you have a debilitating medical condition, it's been recommended by your physician, certain things along the line, that gives people the right as patients to medicate their issue.
And what type of legislation is being considered right now in Colorado for the medical marijuana licensing?
You know, as I said, it's been around for quite a while, but because of things that have happened more recently, we have this dispensary model where we have that sort of issue, and that's really the big focus, is how is that going to be regulated. They started with trying to limit, say, 5 patients per caregiver without getting too deep into that. Right, sure. With 60,000 people on the registry, the simple math would tell you there'd be 12,000 grows, and that's a lot. So what they're really looking at, and Senator Romer is looking at, is getting into more of a clinic model, sort of a larger scale situation. But as far as the patient's rights go, that's solid.
Okay. Now, when it comes to possession, people, my understanding is that if you don't have a license, you can still possess under an ounce, or am I wrong? Is this?
If you don't have a license, it is illegal on the federal level in the state of Colorado.
Okay.
You cannot possess marijuana. It is against the law. If you have a medical marijuana license, you can possess up to 2 ounces, and that's it.
All right, and then how about on the state level, though? Because isn't there some discrepancy, or are we just going to strictly follow the federal?
Different municipalities have basically legalized certain limits, certain weights, but as long as those, as long as Denver is within Colorado and Colorado's in the U.S.,
right, yeah, okay.
There are other laws that apply there.
So really, people then that have a license, they can actually possess, but if you don't have a license, then you should probably not be carrying it on you.
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
It's
so
flat out illegal.
Just flat out don't do it.
I mean, and I think that that's a misconception in the law. Is just because, Denver and some of ththese other areas in the state of Colorado are allowing you to have it, it doesn't, if you don't have a license, you are committing a crime. End of story.
Yeah, that's good information, because you hear so many different sides to it, and people, I think, believe that you can carry under an ounce without a license.
Oh, right.
So, yeah,
people
great
think it's
information.
Amsterdam of the Rockies,
Maybe next year. But
all right, excellent. Well, thank you for sharing this good
Absolutely.
information, because there is a lot of or bad information out there. So I'm going to tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you, and thanks again.
Great, thanks.
Jansen Allfree wants to ensure that you're represented fairly and informed about the charges against you before you make a bad decision. They are a criminal defense attorney handling everything from traffic offenses to DUI to major felonies. Call them at 303-832-5400 or visit their website at jansenlegal.com. They offer free consultations. The number again is 303-832-5400. Jansen Allfree paid for this segment. High-quality, handcrafted furniture is what you get at Woodley's Fine Furniture. Next, we talk to one of the owners about their great furniture and community involvement. And be sure to tune in every weekday from noon to 1 for Haystack Help Radio. We'll help you with your problems, questions, and complaints, find you reliable companies, and keep you informed on consumer topics. Haystack Help Radio airs every weekday from noon to 1 on 101.5 The Truth, Denver's FM talk radio. We'll be right back.